Can talking out loud really change the way you feel, connect, or thrive in everyday life? To discuss in detail, I'm joined by psychology expert Dr. Joe Lukens, who joins us every Monday. Morning, Dr. Joe.
Good morning, Phil. Good to speak with you.
Why do we talk to ourselves?
We do it for a whole range of reasons, but one of the things we know is that it makes a big difference between when we think something versus when we say something out loud. And it really helps us to clarify our thinking and think about how we're feeling. So I think sometimes we do it to entertain ourselves. So there's lots of reasons why we might speak to ourselves.
What is the difference between our internal monologue, the monkey chatter, and if we're speaking to ourselves but out loud?
Yes, so there is definitely a benefit to speaking out loud rather than what goes inside our heads. One of the things that we'll find is that when you speak out loud, it takes longer. As you said, the chatter is there because it happens so quickly for us. But when we actually have to think about our words to say them out loud, a bit like I'm doing now as I'm answering your question, it actually slows us down, makes us think a little bit more, and then it helps us to regulate our emotions as well.
How can talking out loud help us regulate our emotions?
Yes, so I think, like we were just saying, what it forces us to do is to notice the emotion and then to be able to label it. And that's something that makes those emotions feel a lot more manageable, often less threatening. And so people often feel a sense of relief when they can say their words out loud, and it helps you to manage the emotions.
Do people perform better or solve problems better or are better employees, those who talk out loud to themselves?
This is really interesting research because we have seen numerous studies that show that verbal self-instruction actually helps you to boost your focus, helps with your memory, helps you stick with a task for longer. So we know that athletes and students and professionals as well that use those out loud prompts often helps them to stay on track and boost their confidence and their performance.
What about... I've seen people who laugh to themselves. They've told themselves a joke and they think it's very funny, but they haven't shared it with anyone else. What does that say?
I do think that humour has a big role to play in what we say out loud, and I think sometimes it helps us with our resilience navigating through situations. And there's no doubt that if we are the only person present, then we are hilarious in anything that we might say out loud. So I think what it can do for us is help deflate the tension that we might be feeling in a given moment and sometimes highlight the absurdity of some of the situations we might find ourselves in.
So should we be making talking out loud to ourselves a daily habit?
I would certainly say that it has benefits for us. It might be whether some people will say affirmations to themselves in the morning about how they're going to start off their day. They might narrate the process when they're doing something complicated. So there's certainly benefits for us in speaking out loud and just finding little ways to do it and experimenting with it. I'm always saying to people, you'll be the judge of what's best for you. Work out if it's helpful for you. But I certainly know that for myself, it's a strategy that I find helpful, and I do rely on it quite a bit when I'm navigating through life.
Are there any sort of, like I said, going back to maybe a daily exercise or are there some tips to talking, if we are speaking out loud to ourselves, some tips to help people get the most out of it?
Yeah, I think what you can do is you can just find one particular habit or activity that you might do that you might talk your way through. So I'll sometimes do that on a computer task, or if I'm doing something that's fairly new, I might talk my way through it. The other time that I do it that I find really helpful is when I'm leaving the house. What I find is if I say out loud all the things that I have with me, I'm much more likely to notice that I don't have my sunglasses, or I don't have my wallet, or I don't have the thing that I have. So it's not just enough to think about the things that you need, but to talk your way through it can actually help you to realise what's missing. So I would just pick a small daily activity that you do and start there and see how it works for you.
Dr. Joe Lukens, it's been a pleasure to talk to you out loud.
Always good to chat to you, Phil. Thank you.
Dr. Joe Lukens there, our resident psychology expert, who we chat to every Monday morning at around this time.